Welcome to More Than Our Story, where we strive to inspire by profiling incredible people. I'm Daniel Height, and today I'm joined by Lyndsey Blair. She's an ultra endurance athlete, and in September became the first Scottish person to complete the Enduroman Arch to Arc triathlon, raising awareness and funds for cancer and mental health support programs. Lyndsey, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So, growing up, your father was an ultra distance athlete. So he traveled the world competing in events. Do you
Yep.
have any core memory of those years? And did you ever think you'd be following in his footsteps?
Oh, no, I didn't. I just, a lot of my memories were of just him disappearing for days and my mum being left to look after 4 children and him coming home with lots of medals and pride and telling us all about his adventures. I I was a swimmer back when I was younger. I didn't really run or ride my bike, so I didn't necessarily think I would follow in his footsteps in terms of running. But I was always active, and he always inspired me to, uh, you know, be outside doing something, or he would take me to swimming, and I always knew that I would live an active lifestyle because of him.
So I believe your journey with endurance sports began when your friend Jillian McCluskey invited you to try open water swimming.
He did.
Without that invitation, you think you would have found endurance sports?
Hard question. I don't think so. I've got 3 children, so I swam as a kid, as I said, but gave up round about 16, 17. And she invited me to go along to try open water swimming because she was going to do an open water swim in memory of her mum. And the ironic thing was she wasn't a swimmer, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to come and support her with that. This is going to be funny because she wasn't the best swimmer. Anyway, she got me into accompanying her for support and training, and the laughs we had training together were very memorable. And she went on and did her open water swim in memory of her mum and inspired me to, find my love of the outdoor swimming for a start and join the triathlon club she had joined for company and training. So she encouraged me to go to the triathlon club as well. And yeah, without that invitation, I probably would never have found triathlon and subsequently endurance sports. So it really was her invite that kicked off my passion for it. And that was maybe 2012. So just after my children were born. The swimming pool is a good place to hide when you've got 3 children under 3. So that was my hiding place. So then I got back into swimming and took it from there. So that's my journey so far.
So within a couple years of that invitation, you had completed your first full distance triathlon.
That's it.
Was that a normal part of your progression as an athlete, or did you already have aspirations for something bigger?
I always wanted to swim the English Channel. That had been in my mind for a long time. I knew a couple of people, girls, who had done it before, and I always thought, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. But yeah, in terms of triathlon, I started with when I joined the Tri Club with Gillian in 2012. Did sprint triathlon standard. Done my first half Ironman in 2014 and my first full Ironman in Frankfurt in 42 degrees in 2015. And and then I just became addicted basically. I love the thrill of it. So that was the start. But ultra endurance, yeah, Ironman just wasn't enough, so I needed something more.
So speaking of something more, you did the Keltman,
Oh
which
yes,
is considered an extreme triathlon.
yes it is.
What was the most challenging part of that race?
Oh, the swim was very cold. I think the water was maybe verging on 13, 14 degrees. And they don't put any buoys out in the Keltman, so there's 2 little islands you have to navigate around, which without all the other people, I don't think I could have done. A lot of jellyfish in that water as well. So the swim was a challenge. the bike ride 200 kilometers around the most beautiful scenic roads and Scottish landscape that you could see. It's an amazing cycle, but it's challenging, it's hilly. And I think the hardest part is trying to make the cut-offs for me. I'm not the strongest cyclist, but I'll get there, and I did. And then the run is basically an elevation of over 2 Munros. And yeah, making the cut-off to get to the next part with the time constraints, it was it was all quite challenging, but yeah, I had a great support crew on that, and it was probably my most favourite race I've ever done.
That's
And that's saying something.
yeah.
So yeah, the harder the better.
So was that your, I guess, stepping stone towards ultra events and ultra distance events?
Yeah, I could say. I think I realised then that I like to up the challenge every time, and I love, full distance Ironman races, but I know all the courses are different and there's different challenges within them, but I needed to push myself just that little bit further. So yeah, always looking for the next challenge, and still am.
So the Enduroman Arch to Arc, the one you completed this past September,
Yes,
it's being called the world's toughest triathlon for a reason. Perhaps you can describe what the race entails.
of course. So the race starts, it's an individual event you do with your own support crew. There's no one else doing it at the same time as you. And it starts in Marble Arch in London. And you run, it's, I've forgotten the distance now, 87 miles from London to Dover. So 130k I ran non-stop, no sleep, took me 22 hours. And then the next part is swim the English Channel. And then when you arrive in Calais, you then cycle from Calais to the Arc de Triomphe.
So I know you can train longer hours and do longer distances to get used to the physical fatigue. How do you prepare mentally for something of that degree? And tell me you slept.
I did sleep, but not much. You have a rest after the run. So basically you've got 48 hours to do the run, which you decide when you start. You get your swim start time, which is when the pilot says the weather window for the channel is favourable. So everything for the whole event depends on that swim start time. And actually that was mentally challenging because the weather was so bad leading up to it. I was terrified I wasn't going to get to start. I have a 10-day slot, and if the weather doesn't allow, it's no start. So all the training could have went to nothing or to be pushed to next year or the year after. So for me, that was a really, mentally exhausting time until I got that, okay, we've got a weather window, we're starting. But in terms of training for the event, for me, it's 80% mental and 20% physical, which sounds bonkers. I know that, but I did a lot, probably more mental training than I did. Okay, obviously I did physical training, but a lot of it was time spent in my head, visualizing every part of it and knowing, mentally training my brain, right, and that's how I'm going to feel when I get to Dover. I know it's going to be rough on the run at some points, but yeah, picturing the finish line and all my friends and family being there and doing it, obviously raising money for charity. I think a lot about that, think of the reasons why I'm doing it. And I always think of my friend Gillian, and I think there's no pain that I can go through in that adventure that is worse than what she went through. So I just silence all the pain. But yeah, I do have I'm pretty mentally, I'm very tough. It's take a lot to make me quit something when I start and set my mind to do something. Yeah, I'm doing it.
So you swam the English Channel before the Enduroman. Was
Yeah,
there anything you learned in that first time that helped prepare you better for the actual race?
Yeah, I think having swam the channel before definitely gave me some insight knowledge and how it was going to feel out there in in the middle of the channel when you can't really speak to anyone. You're not allowed to hold on to the boat. You're not allowed to really stop, because if you stop when you're swimming the channel, you go backwards pretty fast. The tide and the current is so fast. So I learned, yeah, if I was having a feed feed as fast as you can, because I'm sure when I did it in 2022, I had one feed, and my captain said to me, "You just went backwards 100 meters in the space of like 10 seconds." So the currents they're just so crazy. So a lot of little tips like that. And mentally, I just go feed to feed. So I've got an amazing crew on the boat with me and my husband and my niece Beth, who I made them come again with me with Enduroman. So I had the same crew, so that they know me the best. The crew are so important. But yeah, I think don't just keep swimming. I always think the tide's going to change eventually when it gets tough, and it did get tough in Enduroman for me. Just keep swimming. Just get from feed to feed to feed, and don't stop. You've got one job, is to get from England to France, and don't stop until you get there. And yeah, I've got lots of little mantras I would say to myself, or if when my mind starts to wander, you start to think, oh, what did I just see there? Or there's another jellyfish, and I just would revert back to some of the mantras I'd have in my head. So either like one of the ones I used to say to myself all the time would be either I'm going to get there, or I'm going to get there, or I'm going to get there. Like really simple things, like there is no other option. The other one I said this time was, okay, my arms, I ended up swimming for 19 hours in Enduroman, so my shoulders were sore. But I was just saying things in my head like, well, my arms and my lats are sore now. They're going to be sore tomorrow. So they might as well hurt for another 4 or 5 hours now than actually get off and sit in the boat and then be in pain anyway. So yeah, lots of little things. But yeah, did I learn? I obviously picked up a lot of just small mental. I knew it's more of a mental challenge, that the swimming the channel, because you can't speak to anyone, you can't look at your phone. I don't know what the pilot's saying to my crew. It's really hard to communicate at times. So yeah, just it was good to have done it before, definitely to have that in the bank, but everyone should try it. It's good fun.
So in August, when you publicly announced that you were going to be participating in the 2025 Enduroman, where were you mentally at that point? I guess you were confident. You were confident enough to say, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this done."
Yep. The only bit I wasn't confident in, I had originally said I'm going to do it non-wetsuit. So with Enduroman, unlike the channel you have to do in a swimsuit, cap and goggles only as an official channel swim. Enduroman rules state that you can wear a wetsuit. And with all the training, so I put on a bit of weight for the channel before, because I'm not the biggest human, but I couldn't do that this time because just with the running volume and the cycling volume, not just solely training swimming. So I found it really difficult to keep enough body fat on to swim it non-wetsuit. So I'd wanted to do it non-wetsuit, but I made the choice last minute because I was like, I don't have enough fat to keep warm for the channel. So made the choice very last minute. In fact, actually the night before, I said to my coach, I'm not going to manage, the channel, because after the run, you're with the exhaustion and the fatigue, you're cooler anyway. So yeah, that I like the confidence on the non-wetsuit thing, but doesn't really matter anyway. It was within the rules, so that had but yeah, in terms of the whole event, I knew I was going to do it. I wouldn't have said I was going to do it if I didn't know I could do it. And
So how are you feeling on September 6th, I think it was, when you set out from London to Dover on that long run? How were you feeling as you set out?
Apprehensive of what was lying ahead, but also super excited. I was so delighted to get the weather window, to the privilege to start. Like, I was so lucky that the channel allowed me to swim. So once I started running, I was honestly so excited, and I was with the most amazing crew, doing the things I love most, in memory of my best friend, and raising amazing amounts of money for charity. So I couldn't have been happier, to be honest. And truly I had great conditions for the run, and I just loved it. I loved the whole thing.
So
So
speaking of that support crew, I
yes,
think you were also accompanied by an event marshal.
yes.
Um, What was your approach to ensuring adequate rest and nutrition during the event? And how pivotal was your support crew to that?
Oh, the support crew were everything when it came to that, because I'll easily forget to eat, not eat enough. You know, I'm really bad at that, ironically. So we had a plan. They knew the foods I liked, and whenever I just basically, it was like a rolling buffet. Whatever I say I needed, they had it ready. Like, I wanted mashed potato at one point, and mashed potato appeared. I have no idea where they got it from or how they made it, but we got mashed potato. Um, weird things you want when you're in the depth, and you can have anything, right? So, you know, not like a normal endurance event where you've got to carry your own stuff and you have gels, and I'm rubbish with them. So my support crew had everything before I even knew I needed it. These guys, I had my husband, Kenny, my niece Beth, and my great team, Andy, my physio of over 20 years, and Davey from Callahan's Health, taking care of all the mechanical stuff. They all had their roles, and honestly, it was a team effort. Without them, it wouldn't have been possible. They were amazing. Andy made sure I ate. Oh, you know, every time I stopped, they were like leapfrogging me for the run, and did the same on the bike. And they had everything ready that they anticipated that I would need, and basically made me eat it. I was like, no, I'm not hungry. They're like, you need to, or you're not going any further. In terms of rest and the run, I would stop by the van, they would refuel, I'd have drinks ready. So I'd stop for maybe 5-10 minutes every, I don't know, half marathon maybe, or sometimes more towards the end. And then I was a bit sick actually when I reached 115 kilometers on the run. So for safety, they made me stop for a half an hour and just sit down and make sure I got all my nutrients back into me, fluids back into me before they would let me go again. They really did keep me safe all the time. So, because I think I was starting to go a bit like, okay, Andy said you appear drunk, and I'm like, oh, okay, don't know what happened. I don't remember that part. I felt euphoric, but yeah, so they really kept me safe, kept me fueled, and had everything I needed. But I didn't sleep at all during my whole 22 hours of running. My support crew were napping along the way. Some more than others, I believe, actually. They have got some stories to tell on their own. But once we got to Dover, I had planned to run. I thought the run was going to take me 24 hours, and it took me 22. So I'd gained an extra 2 hours there. And that was just into the rest period because my boat was leaving when it was leaving the next morning. Like, I couldn't make it earlier or later. We were leaving at 8:40 on the 7th, and that was the time that I'd agreed to meet the pilot. So yeah, I'd like to say I slept really well that night, but I didn't. You know, everything, you know, it's like after you do an endurance event, your legs are jittery, and you know, you just don't sleep as well as you would like. But yeah, it was good to stop, put my feet up, have a hot shower, and change over all the run kit to swim kit and get focused for the next bit of the adventure.
So we already covered the swim.
Yes.
I want to transition now to the final leg, the cycle across France from Calais to Paris.
Yes.
When you got on your bike, how are you feeling? Because I think you mentioned at the top of the interview here that cycling's not your strongest.
Not the fastest, no, but I'll get there. It's not. I love riding my bike, but yeah, I don't have the power of some of these other cyclists. How was it feeling? It was the weirdest feeling. I got on my bike and I'm on the wrong side of the road. Okay, we drive on the right here and the left in France. And I'm like, how did I get here? This is bizarre. I'm in another country. I didn't fly here and I didn't take a boat. I was in another country. It took me honestly about an hour to, where am I? And I started at about 6 in the evening, so the light was dimming. I'm on the wrong side of the road by myself. I'm just navigating with my Garmin, and I've got just under 300k to ride. And oh, I was into the most horrific headwind I have ever encountered. I thought I was going to ride in France. It was going to be sunny, not like Scotland where it's always cold and wet and windy. And I got faced with horrific headwind, crosswinds, sideways rain, and it was dark. and I was on my own and I was navigating. So it was a little bit, it took me a while to settle into that and just be confident of traffic, just being all the wrong way around. But at that point, I was also like, okay, the two bits that while cycling's not my strongest, I was good. I've got the run done. That swim is obviously the bit where so many things can go wrong and you might not make it. So for me, the cycle was always going to be like the glory leg. Like okay, apart from mechanical or having an accident, I was just like, right, okay, don't take any risks, be careful, and you've got this. Like you'll get there, because I had come this far and I wasn't going to let anything derail that. So yeah, it was a bit of relief, but a bit of, oh, sugar, where am I? Like, I can't believe it. Yeah, the end of the swim was so hard that I was just absolutely delighted to be on my back. So, yeah.
So you managed to finish cross the finishing line, September 10th.
Yes.
I think your final time was 95 hours, 11 minutes.
Yep.
And you became the first Scottish person. I think it's the 65th person in the world.
Yep.
And at that time, one of only 15 women.
Yep. Still only 15 women.
Did you have a finishing time in mind?
I had one in my mind, that if everything had went perfectly, I would have loved, but I didn't get it. I was a bit over it. But that's because the conditions in my swim had deteriorated so much, and the winds my swim was 5 hours longer than when I did it 2 years ago, and I would arguably say I swam much better this time, but just the conditions just didn't, I couldn't get into the shore because the tide had turned and the wind had picked up so much. So basically after the swim, I was like, okay, that's gone now. I'm not going to be able to do that, because I knew I wouldn't be able to cut down on my cycle goal. So yeah, I was over my time, but at the end of the day, it didn't really matter. Like, I was well within the allowed time, and for me, it was about getting from arch to arc. The time was a secondary goal that most people shout. When I say, oh, I'm disappointed with my time, I'm like, I'm getting into trouble for that. Everyone's like, don't be so ridiculous. Like, so I get that, but yeah, I don't know. Someone asked me today, like, do you want to do it again? I'm like, yeah, I do. I want to do it again and go for the time. But you need all the conditions to line up perfectly for it. Like, I didn't get the weather for that, even if I had done my best performances in the 3 sections, like, which I didn't underperform in any of them particularly, but the conditions in the swim just blew me backwards. So I'm just delighted that I made it in the end.
So my next one is a two-part question. Firstly, as a Scottish person, and then secondly, as a mother of 3, what did conquering the Enduroman mean to you?
Oh, do you know, I didn't know I was going to be the first Scottish person until about a week before, and I started to look up past results and scan everyone's time. And I was like, do you know, I don't see anyone from Scotland, and it only lists Great Britain on the past results. So I had to then Google everyone to see where they were all from. And when I realised I was going to be the first Scottish person, I thought, I'm so proud, because that's something that no one can ever take away from me. And my friend Gillian, it's been 8 years since she passed, and I always knew I was going to do something in her memory, but it took me, I couldn't have done like something smaller, because her personality, like, I had to go big, and she would have been so proud of me for conquering that and being the first Scot. So for her, I'm super proud of that, because I know that like she would be so proud of me. And for my children, I've got 2 girls and a boy who are 14, 16 and 17 now, and they were at the finish line waiting for me. And yeah, I really wanted to show them that anything is possible if you put your mind to it, and that quitting is the easy way out, and the tide will always turn when things are hard. If you know, a bit like swimming the channel. There's so many little snippets that I've been saying to them, and I think they were so worried about me, and just seeing them at the end, and they're so proud of me. And that if I can, my daughter who's 17 has just asked me if she can do an Ironman 70.3 for her 18th birthday. So we've signed up to do Venice together next year, which, I mean, I don't know many mums that can say that's what my daughter wants to do for her 18th. Like, that's just epic that she's chosen a really healthy lifestyle, and she's like, can I get a new bike and, you know, swim, bike, run, and she's keeping fit. And my other two are the same. They're really inspired, and they're telling all their friends. And I've had lots of young girls message me saying that's so cool. I want to, you know, I've inspired lots of teenage girls, I think, and in Scotland, a lot of teenage girls don't want to do sport. And if I can inspire one to go out and chase their dreams or do, you know, and boys, anyone really, then I'm proud. I'm proud of that. So yeah, I hope
You definitely should be proud of that. Speaking about being proud, you mentioned your friend Jillian. I know she passed in 2018
She did.
from breast cancer.
Yep.
You were raising funds for the Enduroman for Ayrshire cancer support.
That's correct. Yeah.
Can you maybe share about what they do and why you chose to sponsor them?
Yeah, so when Gillian was poorly, she kept things very close to her chest. She didn't really share very much about her illness. She always, what we all call it, she always used to say she pulled a blinder. She didn't want sympathy. She was the most amazing character, but she did share with me that she had went to Ayrshire Cancer Support, which is quite a big thing for her to share because she just didn't share. And I knew she used to take some relief going there, and the people in, so they have little hubs. There's now a second one opened, more local to me. And they're just the most amazing humans. You can go in for just a chat, you can go in for they have people in doing like different therapies like massage. They have different groups for all different ages. They get people together. If you just want to go in by yourself and read a book and sit, they support that, and they're open basically any support. If you have a diagnosis, or even if I had wanted to go in as Gillian's friend and ask for support, or family, you know, it's not just for, wasn't just for her. I could have went in, or any of her family or anyone affected by cancer could go in, and there's just a lovely listening ear and support. And oh, these people are angels. Like, they're just the most amazing people. And I wanted to do something local in my local community, which is why one of the reasons I chose them. They do such amazing work for people round about where we live. And quite frankly, I couldn't think of a better local charity to have raised money for, and they've been amazing. So, and I hope they continue to help anyone that needs it. So,
you also fundraised for Hospitality Action.
Yeah. So my husband's business is in hospitality. We have restaurants and bars, and so Hospitality Action is a UK-wide charity that support hospitality staff in a number of ways, basically in any way they might need it. So they can affect if you've got an illness of any sort, or you come up with hardship or mental health, or they're amazing charities that support the people that work in our industry for basically any need. You can apply for a grant, and you know, they will, if you need a new washing machine, or you're having to have to take time off work because something has happened in your life, they are there. So they support our industry and our people that work in the business. So I chose to raise and split it 50-50, and then we've just my fundraising shuts on the 31st of October, and I've managed to raise just about £27,000. So people have been so generous in donating, and I am absolutely over the moon, which I hope the charities are too.
So you've just mentioned that you inspired your daughter. She wants to do a half Ironman on her.
It sounds expensive already, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it's clear that you're a role model for endurance athletes, especially girls and women,
I hope so.
and you're trying to get people to pursue ultra distance challenges too. What would you say to people considering taking on their first ultra distance events?
Um, Go for it. Like there's nothing we can't do if we do the training and get your mind into the right mind frame. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. And if you don't try, you never will. So it's better to start and fail than never to have started. Like I feel like I'm ruling off a whole load of quotes, but these are all the things that actually are like once you start, you can get to the end if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, wherever it is. Um, so yeah, like give it a go. Like I had people are like, oh, I can't believe you did that, and I'm like, I had the most amazing adventure with the most amazing people doing the three things I love the most. Yeah, it was hard, it was tough, but I set out to do something, and I hope I've inspired others to give it a try. Like, please just try. Like,
So you've inspired others, but what did the Enduroman teach you about yourself?
oh, that's a good question. Loads, so much. I'm stronger than I think. I'm much mentally tougher than I ever gave myself credit for. To not have quit in that swim when the weather turned and I was swimming in the dark. And it's actually not till after when you speak to people that were like watching, my niece did like live videos, and women in the town have come around to me. I don't even know some of these women, and they're like, I was up, I was a nervous wreck, worried about you. I'm like, that's so kind. I've never met you when you were awake all night tracking my little dot and watching my stories. And so many people say I couldn't have done that, swimming in the sea in the dark and that those white waves. And I'm just like, God, I'm like properly mentally tough. So I've taught myself that, yeah, just just keep going, just don't quit. And yeah, I'm definitely stronger than I thought I was.
Speaking about not quitting, next year you have your sights set on the Catalina channel.
I
Um,
did.
why did you choose that one?
So I don't know. I've done the English Channel obviously solo, and I'm like, okay, do I go for the Ocean Seven? So Catalina is obviously one of them. Don't know if I'll do all seven. I'm a bit worried about the cookie cutter sharks and one of them, but I signed up for Catalina next year, and then someone got bitten by a shark a couple of weeks ago. I saw that in the news, a great white. So, but I'm still going to do it. But I chose the Catalina because similar to the English Channel conditions, and I quite fancy a trip to California. And I'm going to hopefully get a slot for the Manhattan 20 bridges around Manhattan swim, which I think I can't apply until January. But if I do the English Channel, the Catalina and the 20 bridges, that's the triple crown in marathon swimming. So for me, that's the next step, even though the 20 bridges isn't the seven oceans, to then deciding if I want to pursue the others. Um, so yeah, but I've got a few other races planned for next year as well. So
So, as an expert in mental grit, um, what would you say to others facing challenges in their life?
hmm, that's a good question. Just keep going. Just it will get easier. And if it doesn't, you have to just keep going. Like just don't quit, don't give up. That's the easy way out.
So, where can people follow along with your adventures?
Oh, you find me on Instagram. I'm under Lyndsey underscore B underscore try underscore. And I'll hopefully be posting more about my training and all the challenges I've got planned for next year. And I'm still looking for another big one. So if anyone's got any suggestions, please let me know.
Well, Lyndsey, I've really enjoyed speaking with you today. Um,
Thank you.
Congratulations on your incredible accomplishment.
Thank you so much.
You've showed others that even the most seemingly insurmountable feats are possible with enough preparation and mental fortitude. You've earned your status as a role model for
Thank you.
endurance athletes and set an incredible example for your children.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure too.
Thank you.